Hey guys, Daft Punk here.
Oh my god, again! Every single time we actually spend fucking time on an intro, you just throw it away.
Leave it to me to fucking do that.
Fucking now we're the Daft Punk podcast. Welcome to the Daft Punk podcast, the podcast where we discuss our unimportant and important Daft Punk opinions on important and unimportant Daft Punk albums.
Daft Punk. Yay.
Oh my god.
Oh, welcome back, guys.
Hey.
We're in a jolly good mood today, trying to start the podcast with like 50 things messing up all at once. And then before that, spending an hour just like trying to set up.
I don't know what you're talking
Even
about.
though we said we were going to start it. Oh, whatever. We're here. It's time to get back to some good music on the podcast.
Yes.
Today, we are doing the precursor to my favorite album of all time. One of my favorite albums of all time. Self-titled by LCD Soundsystem.
Oh man, this album has a lot of reputation to me from Julian.
Yes. Well, no, wait, did I say this album or more the band, less the album?
Mm-hmm.
Because going into this one, I haven't heard too. Well, let's start. I listened to Sound of Silver, in like 2018. Thought not much of it. I thought it was good, but I kept coming back to it, and slowly over time, it became one of my favorite records of all time. I checked out their third record, This Is Happening, fell in love with that one too. Checked out their fourth record. We'll talk about that later, eventually, not today. And I didn't really listen to their first record that much. The only thing I knew about it was Daft Punk Is Playing at My House, and I think that's the one that everyone knows.
Yep, I'm the same way.
So I wanted to explore, I wanted to check out their debut. I wanted to start small, see how they started, see where they got their sound, just build up to my favorite record, one of my favorite records of all time.
All right. I mean,
And
I don't have much to say about this album. I'd heard Daft Punk Is Playing at My House like 50,000 times. I love the song, but it's the only song I knew from LCD Soundsystem. I had no idea what the rest of their sound was going to be going into this.
yeah, so they're like an indie dance, like disco punk band.
Indie dance, disco punk,
the
new wave.
The masthead, James Murphy, I think they formed their own label or something, like DFA Records.
Oh, sick.
Came out with this record and been going ever since. They've become critically acclaimed, pretty popular, and they are one of my favorite bands too. So, yeah, hopefully this goes well.
On to song one.
I hope you liked it. On song one.
Oh,
Daft Punk Is Playing at My House.
Mm-hmm.
This song, immediately, you're off with a banger.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking the explosive intro into that bass line with James Murphy just going ow ow like his signature just like jovial eccentric voice.
Yeah, you get like the first thing you hear is dirty bass and his weird shouty speaky unbelievably eccentric attitude and vocals. Like first thing
Right.
you hear. It's such a great introduction
It
in the
is.
first like 2 seconds.
And immediately you're thrown into this bass line and synth line that repeats throughout the entirety of the song,
Mm-hmm.
which for me is one of the signature LCD Soundsystem things. It's amazing how much they can do with the same repeating melody for 5 straight minutes and not make it boring. In fact, they make it like past boring. They surpass normal
They
songs.
surpass boring. It's fucking dreadful. No.
It's a staple of their records that they just have a repeating melody over and over, and it's more like instead of the song changing, it's rather the band twists over the song
Yeah.
because the melody and the drums and everything stays the same, and they just keep adding parts and verses and different sounds that make the song what it is. And that's the thing I love about this band. That's the thing that I fell in love with, and it definitely shows on this first song. One of their best songs, honestly. I'd even consider it like a classic song, possibly, especially in the indie scene.
I actually didn't even know this was a band. I thought it was just like Mr. Soundsystem. I thought it was just him.
It's James Murphy. Well, I mean, like they tour with the band, but I think like the main mastermind is James Murphy. Like he's the one that does everything. I'm pretty sure. I mean, there probably are band members, touring band members, and studio band members that I'm not aware of, but for the moment, I will give most of the credit to him because he's like he's the vocalist, he's the frontman. So
Speaking of the what you're talking about with that bass line, I
yeah,
love the fact that it never changes the entire song just because of how like driving and forward that is. It gives you
right.
this constant forward momentum that never slows down, even when it like during verse 3 it quote unquote drops out where it just gets really quiet for everything else, but it has that dirtiness to it and it's still keeping that same rhythm, so you're never like out of the attitude of the song.
It never tires, and it's not like something that gets annoying. I think it's just done so well that you keep grooving onto it, and the energy builds up as the song goes on and on and on, and that's the whole thing. It's almost like there's an appeal to like music that is droney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is because it's consistent and you're set into this world because it's repeating over and over and over, and you're just kind of you're settling in with it, basically.
Yeah.
And LCD Soundsystem, especially at the end of their career, they learned how to perfect that sort of sound. Right here at the beginning with this song, I think they do it very well. But with this entire album, it's kind of like you can see themselves building up. If you've heard their later stuff, you can tell this is a band trying to find their sound, and that's my biggest flaw with this record. But we'll get on to that as we go on with the record.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we could go into the lyrics of this song.
Okay, the lyrics for this song I'm in love with because he's literally just fantasizing of getting Daft Punk to play at a house party. But
Right.
the biggest thing that I love about this song, there's a quote from him where he's talking about a music video that he wanted to make for this song. His
Yeah.
idea was to get a regular house party and get Daft Punk himself and then just some random indie rock or just regular rock band that was around the area to play at that house party. So it would have been that random rock band, so like it just feels natural. It doesn't feel like any big names are there. And then you get LCD Soundsystem, and then you get Daft Punk. And he specifically quote like says and there'd be so many people that don't even know who Daft Punk is there.
I don't think Daft Punk was that popular.
Yeah.
Well, they might have been.
Well, it was 2005, so they definitely were popular, but not.
Yeah, I know they're big in the dance scene. I mean, obviously, it's Daft Punk, especially at the beginning. But
I don't know about like kids that go to a house party with a rock band there. I feel like that.
right.
When this
I mean,
song
I
came
feel like
out.
it'd be like the best party ever. It's Daft Punk,
yeah.
LCD Soundsystem, some random indie rock bands, some beer, and some fucking like in a basement or something.
Yeah.
like a garage like rock party. Like that would be awesome, man. I would live for that shit.
I love that idea for a music video. He said
For a music video and a real party.
Yeah. He said film it like a proper rock show where you get crowd shots and everything, and the crowd is just like fucking
Two people.
a shit ton of like a tiny group of teenagers in a basement.
Who
And
are like
that's so
underage
funny to me.
drinking.
Yeah.
It really is like the embodiment of like the best time of your life, honestly. And this song fits with that sound.
Yeah, it's what this song sounds like too.
Yeah, they definitely improve on that with Sound of Silver. There's another song on there that literally embodies for me like that feeling of being young, and it is one of the best songs of all time. But we'll get to that when we get there.
Oh man, you're singing high praise already.
I will nonstop talk about Sound of Silver. It is like without I'm jumping the gun here, but saying it's probably a 10 out of 10 for me. But I will stop talking about that one. I will sing praise of this record first. But Daft Punk is playing at my house. Fucking great starter to this album.
Oh yeah, and
Sends it off with a bang.
he ends it off with a bang. From that idea, you can tell he's got a ton of appreciation for Daft Punk, maybe even too much love for them, which is the name of the next song.
Too much love. Did you do that on purpose, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. That's why it took me
Of
like
course you did.
70 years to fumble over my words there, because I was trying to find a way to fit it in.
All right. Too much love. This kind of sounds like Talking Heads a bit. That was the first thing I got. Like, the other problem I have with this album is, like I said, they're trying to figure out like their sound right. So a lot of their influences show up on their sleeve, and there were so many influences that kind of like popped up here and there on this album, which is
There were only
Fine.
like 3 that were big for me. One is huge. One of the influences
Yeah.
is fucking insanely big, and I know we're thinking about the same one, but that'll be later.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I got Talking Heads just from the fact that it's new wave and it has like, he's got that same compositional style as Talking Heads where he just likes to get an idea and just constantly add and change stuff in it.
Especially when I found Talking Heads for the first time, I was like, oh shit, this is like LCD Soundsystem, but old.
It's like LCD Soundsystem looks at the date 20 years ago.
But yeah, no, I do enjoy this song. It kind of feels unsettling with that, like,
Yeah.
with James Murphy's quiet vocals and then that like droning synth that like keeps beeping around everywhere.
Okay, I love the instant like dive in tone that he does. Like, cuz it is unsettling and you go from that like house party to like this random out of nowhere, you just get slapped in the face with this dark tone, but what keeps you rooted in the album is his like talky vocals, even if they're a little darker. He's still got the same eccentricity to him, and you get that
Right.
bouncy bass still in there.
As well as that drum beat. Their percussion
Oh,
on this
yeah.
album is very similar to, like, they're all similar to each other, and oh God, I love the percussion on this record.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is so like that's the one thing that they've made themselves distinct with, like, immediately off the bat, is the way their drums and their bells, especially the cowbell. They use a lot of cowbell on all of their stuff.
Oh my god, I love their cowbell so much.
Yeah, and it's syncopated and it's cool and it's awesome, like fucking hell. But yeah, you mentioned the bass, like it's the same melody thing. It's building up on itself and it keeps building up to the end of the song. It's not as
Yep.
long as other songs on the record, but it's still the same idea of that, where
Yeah.
they twist and turn around the song rather than the song changes itself, which I love. It is such a
Oh,
cool
yeah.
compositional thing. Some may call it lazy. I think it's not.
Okay, it's not lazy because taking an idea, having it go for that long and not making it boring is hard, and you have to have like a perfectionist attitude to do that because there's so much nitpicking you have to do to keep that from getting boring. Like that is a very nitpicky style of writing, and it's impressive to me.
Right, and they do so much interesting stuff with it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like at the end of this song with like the fucking like like you have that synth going on, and then you have like what it sounds like people are hitting trash cans, out of sync, but they're also in sync. Like it's fucking awesome, man. Like
Yeah.
this is the stuff that makes me appreciate music, and especially the stuff that makes me appreciate this band. Like there are signs of like this band, like you can tell they're making their own sound.
Oh yeah, yeah. I honestly, this is my favorite track on the album. I
Really?
am obsessed with this track so much. Oh yeah, dude. Okay, there's so much to this track that I'm just never able to get enough of. The high synths that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It almost feels like he's like imitating like a train braking sound, like the squealing of like a subway train.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
such like a tense noise for you to hear. He adds to the tensity with that. Whenever you're at the part where he says "with no memories," when it gets like
Yeah.
more singy, they keep repeating a tritone over
Yeah,
and over
I was gonna
again.
say that. I was gonna ask, because is that like some sort of like vocal thing? Because it doesn't sound like a normal chord. It sounds like they're singing like in a weird. The first thing I thought was tritone. So
Yeah, it's a tritone. It's supposed to sound like ear wrenching, and it's so good. I've never heard vocals that are like this talky and dreary harmonizing. I've never heard vocal harmonies on a style of singing like this. So I was really impressed with that just because I'd never heard it, and it sounds so perfect in the way he does it.
yeah, and the lyrics, I interpret it as like what happens when you finally get tired of like the fame, making music, touring, being famous, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you get too much love? I mean, these lyrics, with both Daft Punk and this one, they're not too like deep. They're interesting ideas, and they're not like it's not the main focus of the.
Yeah, there's like,
album.
I mean, I can agree with your statement on this being about like fame and music, because there's a lot of themes of that later on in the lyrics, but I feel like this isn't deep on the surface level, but these lyrics allow you to derive a deep message from it.
Yeah, they're not. They're certainly not bad lyrics. I will say.
Yeah,
that. Like,
oh,
no,
absolutely.
no, there's not. No, these are fantastic. They're just not
In your face about the message.
right. They're kind of vague, I guess.
Yeah. And he likes vague lyrics. There's one song that I could not, for the life of me, transcribe what the lyrics were supposed to be about.
Yeah, I wonder if it was. I wonder if it was the same for you as me, but we'll see. No, this song is fantastic as fuck. So
Yep.
I guess we can move on to Tribulations.
Yeah. I had a fucking great segue in mind, but I guess you can just step on that too.
You're welcome, Matt. I guess
So-
I'm a tribulation.
For taking notes this time, I did something different than usual. Usually I'll just listen to the album a few times and then I take notes on like the last listen.
Yeah.
For this time, I listened to it and I took at least one note on every song the first time I listened to it.
Okay.
And for Tribulations, I just have down the words yawn frequency. And I'm trying to remember what I meant by that. I think... Oh, okay. I don't know why, but the bass in this song plays at such a perfect frequency that it like moves the muscles in my ears that move whenever you yawn. So anytime I listen to this song, John's Soundsystem just forces me to yawn like 50 times.
Matt, are you on drugs?
I promise I am not on drugs. I don't know why. It's so
I have
weird.
no fucking clue what literal frequency you're on when you're talking about this shit.
Dude, whenever I listen to this song, it like forces me to yawn. It's not an insult. I like this song. I literally cannot resist the urge to yawn listening to it. It just forces me to.
Jesus, the more you talk about yawning, I want to yawn. But Tribulations, that's weird. That's funny. But Tribulations, very dancey type beats. Also sounds very indie at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what the verse melody reminds me of? That fucking song, Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics. Sweet dreams are made of these.
I like how when you said that, my brain went to the Weezer cover.
Come on, Matt. We're not talking about Weezer on this podcast. I've had enough Weezer for the past couple of weeks, okay? So, going back to this one, it kind of reminds me of New Order a little, too.
I don't know anything about New Order. I can't say anything about that.
Yeah, so, but I mean, to me, it's like, it's not very obvious, but you can kind of tell. Ugh, fuck, I have to just cry about the percussion again. It's so fucking good. With this song, that's just, it's that constant bass line, and then everything is building up around this melody, which I fucking love. The verse one and as well the chorus one. Yeah, no. I love this song in the track list. But other than that, it kind of just follows the same formula as the rest of them. That same building up energy as the song goes on with the same repeating background. And it sounds kind of negative the way I'm saying it, but it just, they do it so well.
Yeah, it sounds like us talking about Together Through Time, but it's not the same thing. Because it's not the same sound. It's the same basic technique.
Oh, certainly not.
Yeah, it's like...
Right.
We're just discussing that he likes to use the same technique in constructing the song at a very base level, not all the intricate details, because all the intricate details are different for every song. Vastly.
Right, for sure.
Vastly.
They know how to keep it interesting, for sure. I'll say that at least.
Yeah.
I never got bored while listening to this record.
Despite me yawning like 350 times, I definitely never felt bored during this album.
Right. I think the song is about a relationship.
This is the
about
song that I had no idea the lyrics.
It was kind of almost like what I kind of got was like a lack of investment from the girl, and while the guy's like actually trying. But
I couldn't.
That's
okay.
That's it. I guess I had a little trouble deciphering it too.
It could be me. It could be you making me listen to too much 1975, but I felt like it was like a relationship, but not specifically with a girl or with another person. I felt like
maybe
it's definitely just because I've been listening to too much 1975, but my brain went to like, oh, he's talking about fame. Maybe.
Or he's talking. Yeah, it sounds like he's talking about something, but he's not. I mean, it might be very literal. It might literally be a relationship, but I don't know what James Murphy's whole thing with drugs or alcohol is.
Yeah.
So I can't say. I mean, maybe if I did have like knowledge of that, there may be a different insight. But to me, it's just simple relationship stuff. Well, simple as relationship can be. Yeah, this is just another good song on the track list. Solid.
And I guess to add some movement into this podcast, we can move on to movement. where it suddenly
Okay.
turns into LCD punk system.
Yeah, it is a very punky song. You know what? You know what this? It sounds like early Arctic Monkeys before they even existed, because Arctic Monkeys didn't come out with their debut until a year after. So I was like, this sounds like something. Like, I don't know. That's the first vibe I got. But yeah, it does have a very punk sound, which it's the only song that sounds like this, and it's the only time the band ever goes this rock out type of music.
It was definitely, I want to say out of place, but that sounds too mean. Because it wasn't like, it was jarring, but not in a bad way. Like, I wasn't expecting this sound even slightly.
Well, yeah, because the synth at the beginning kind of like it sounds like an LCD Soundsystem synth,
Yeah.
and then it keeps going and keeps going, and then it turns into a rock song.
Yeah.
But I think it's like I said, that's my major problem with it is I think that it's them trying to figure out their sound. What are they doing? This is kind of like they're not throwing stuff at the wall to see if it sticks as much as they're just trying different things out.
They're throwing everything on the wall. But they're finally crafting the things they throw at the wall before they throw it.
Right. But they kind of, yeah, they know what they're doing.
It's very intricately crafted shit that they're chucking at a brick wall.
If you want to make it sound nice, or actually kind of nice, then yeah, sure. But
I do.
I think I do kind of think this is funny. The fact that the lyrics are, I think he's making fun of garage / the post-punk revival scene that came in the 2000s.
Yeah.
That's why the song sounds like this.
That's what I got too.
Yeah, he's talking about how those bands are just trying to revive the sound without meaning or not trying to make up their own sound while doing it. Which is like for the sound to sound like this, it's like perfect.
I fucking, even if this was like a little out of place and I wasn't expecting it, it still goes hard and I still lose my fucking shit after all that like feedback that builds up the explosion at verse 3.
Right.
It's
right.
good.
They know what they're doing with most of this. They're not just playing it and being like, this is our sound.
Oh, yeah.
They're putting thought into it, especially with the lyrics. I think these are my favorite lyrics, maybe.
These are my second favorite lyrics.
Okay. Another fucking fantastic song on the record.
Yeah, and honestly, even with the sound being a little out of place, I will never get tired of this song. Just like I am never as tired when I'm waking up.
You got your fucking segues down today, man.
That was a stretch, don't lie. But okay, earlier, remember how we both talked about there's one influence that's fucking super blatant.
It's this one.
It's this one where he just turns into Pink Floyd for the first half of the first
Pink
verse.
Floyd, right? Yeah, yep. Immediately, I was like, this is just Pink Floyd.
I got
Pink Floyd and maybe the Beatles.
The Beatles, like, later on. But I definitely got flashbacks to Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 when I listened to this.
Oh, my God. Blart Side of the Moon. I can't believe we actually did that.
That was one of the most religious experiences of my life.
I would love to relive it again if we're able to sync it up correctly next time.
Shut up. That didn't happen.
Whatever. Anyway, never as tired as when I'm waking up.
It
sounds like
that name.
Sounds like Pink Floyd. Yeah, it's a pretty good song. I think this is where this one, because of the sound, the lyrics stood out to me a little bit more, because it sounds nothing like LCD Soundsystem.
Oh yeah.
So I decided to like focus on that. So I think it's about like James Murphy, trying to find romance, pure romance through sex, and then after that night ends, his senses come back when he wakes up, and they really don't love each other.
It's post-nut clarity, the song.
But no. Post-nut clarity implies that it's good. Does it?
No, post-nut clarity, you just achieve that post-nut. It doesn't have to be a good nut or a bad nut.
Post-nut.
Come on, man.
Okay.
One thing I like that he did about this, he described it as, he said, quote unquote, it's a love song, or rather a lack of love song. And that gave me kind of this interpretation of it. It's like it feels like he's exploring the feeling of being infatuated with someone, but not necessarily in love with them. Like,
yeah,
having that experience.
Like lustfully, maybe a little.
A little bit. Like you have that experience realizing you're not in love with a person. Just subconsciously you think they're very, very hot, and that just makes your brain jump to the conclusion that you're in love with them. And that's like a feeling that you get younger in your life. Like that's a lot of high school love, and then probably college love too.
Don't fall in love with the moment. It's basically.
Yeah. And it's him realizing that. It's a great this is my second favorite song on the album.
For your favorite was Too Much Love, right?
Yeah. This is my second favorite. Just I love that theme. I like watching a character develop through one song. I think that's cool. I think that's impressive lyrically, where you get to see a character have an entire conversation with themselves and develop just through one song.
Right. Other than that, I don't have much to talk about this song, simply because it sounds so well. There's that one part that like it builds up, and then it sounds like the song is ending, and then it just starts back up again.
Yeah, I love that so
much.
But
the thing with it is, this one literally sounds so much like Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah.
That like it's just too obvious.
I definitely can. I will make that criticism, but it is still my second favorite song.
Yeah, I'll still enjoy it. It's just like I have a little bit of trouble tearing that apart, but whatever. This one's great. A lot of this album is great. It's like there's a lot of amazing things, and a lot of things done right, but it's drowning in its influences.
I think a little. There's a little bit of like you can hear.
It has potential.
Derivativeness. Derivative-tiveness you can hear
but,
in this album.
I mean, I don't want to give it too much flack because this album is still great. It's still LCD
album's still
Soundsystem.
unique.
They're figuring out their sound.
There are more songs on this album that sound like LCD Soundsystem than there are songs on this album that sound like LCD Soundsystem got influenced by this person.
I could say that for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of uniqueness. There is one last thing I do want to say about this song, though. This was one of my first listen notes. So at the end of this song, at the very end, you're able to hear him, I'm assuming, like, get up from his chair and put down his guitar. It sounded exactly like what it sounds like when I am in a Discord call with Julian and he sits back in his chair and picks up his guitar. So I had a heart attack being like, I've been in a call with Julian for like 3 hours. What the hell? Why hasn't he said anything? What's going on?
Sorry, Matt.
I got jump scared by LCD Soundsystem.
I wanted to hear your reaction, Matt. I just didn't want you to know I was here.
You like hacked my computer and directly made me answer a call and just kept it there in the background for.
I went to your house. I opened Discord without you knowing, and I pushed the call button. Then I went home, sat while you listened to the album, and listened to it.
And I just listened to it on repeat. Which is the name of the next song. Heyo.
Was it even that good? Don't even fucking. Oh, it was funny though. Whatever. On repeat. The only 8-minute song on the record, which is like another LCD Soundsystem staple. You're gonna love Sound of Silver.
Oh, thank God. Okay, you know the Rush fan in me, the prog fan in me, saw 8 minutes and I was like, oh yes.
Right. Yeah. No, long songs, especially with this LCD Soundsystem sound, is like that build up all the way for like 8 straight minutes, letting you like just take it in. It's perfect. This is like classic LCD Soundsystem.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's so perfect. It's perfect LCD Soundsystem. It's perfect new wave, where he just keeps adding and changing from that simple like, bep, 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 bep. That's just repeating the entire song.
I can't. I don't remember what it is, but whatever.
It reminds me of a song. Thanks, Julian.
Well, there's a specific song. I'm sure someone will comment. I love how this song is about like Murphy's distaste for the mainstream radio, replaying songs all day.
Yeah.
And then it's an 8-minute song that repeats the same like fucking melody over and over and over. It's like, come on, it's LCD Soundsystem. Of course they're gonna do this. Why wouldn't they?
I really wasn't expecting this much lyrical content when I first went into the album, because all I knew was Daft Punk is playing at my house, and it hit me here, where I was like, this album actually has a lot of stuff to dissect lyrically.
Yeah.
At least, like, in certain songs, it's got a lot to dissect. I love what you were talking about, how he's talking about mainstream music and the music industry. And he says, like, there's one line that I really love where he says, you have to be the quote-unquote new stylish creep.
Right.
Which is, like, how pop artists will either, like, dress weird,
Yeah,
or
like how like
do, like, overly strange things just to get
it reminds me
popular
of
and
like
get people talking
Robin
about them.
Thicke and the whole Miley Cyrus thing that happened with Blurred Lines, where they both like what was it?
Yep.
Miley Cyrus grinded on him at the music awards, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? He has a wife or something." I don't know the whole thing, but that idea of trying to be eccentric, almost too eccentric to get that fame like up. Like Lady Gaga does that too, where she just when she was like going
that was my big example.
going crazy with all these dresses, and like I remember she wore like a I don't know if it was
The
a
meat
joke or
suit?
the meat suit. Okay, no, I wasn't imagining that. That was real. Okay,
that fucking fever dream.
it felt like it. It feels like it now, like looking back, because Lady Gaga doesn't make music. Okay, wait a minute. She does make music like that now, kind of. Because I was thinking back to
She makes meat music.
no, I was thinking back to the album before the one she
Sorry.
came out with this year.
Can we title the podcast Meat Music?
It has nothing to do with it, but sure. Fuck it. Meat music. Meat music.
love
Oh,
that.
God. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, fuck it. I lost my point. This song is on repeat. It's great.
This song is about meat.
According to Matt, it's about me.
I do genuinely like the message of this song a lot. I think there's a lot to take out of it lyrically.
Oh, yeah.
so-
This probably is, like, the most wordy song on the album, like, with a lot of
Yeah,
little
it
themes.
doesn't even have... Okay, I am glad I fucking kept talking about this song. I needed to bring this up. It doesn't have verses and choruses.
That's
it's
true.
just stanzas.
That's LCD Soundsystem.
I like that a lot.
That is
Yeah, no,
LCD
I think that's
Soundsystem.
great. He's just going on this like long like
Tangent.
I say soapbox spiel. Tangent's better, yeah, because soapbox spiel sounds like negative, but he's like making good points. He's talking like how you're not allowed to be honest if you want to be successful in the music industry, at least to be consistently on like those top charts. If you want to be in the Billboard like top 10, you have to just follow the dishonest. You can't really do what you actually want to do with music. And you'll only care about that, like, staying dishonest because of being quote-unquote enfranchised and entranced by the commercial success you're getting off of it and the fame.
Right. Yeah, no. He does make a lot of good insights on this song. And that's LCD Soundsystem. That's James Murphy. The way they do it, fucking fantastic. So I guess we can move on to Thrills then.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking...
What a thrilling segue.
I thought you weren't going to come up with anything for this one. Somehow you still did. God damn it, Matt.
Oh, God.
Okay. Thrills.
My initial thought, I have one initial thought about Thrills.
Okay.
When I first listened to it, my gut reaction was that this sounds like a rejected Sonic Rush OST drum beat.
I don't remember what the drum beat sounds like. I just remember the ear-shattering white noise synth that starts it off, and I was like, ow, what the fuck?
Okay, yeah, no, it does sound like that. Yeah, I like getting tased every measure. That's fun.
Okay, but I mean, it goes in with the song. This is an unusual one, because it kind of just drones, and it's kind of hypnotizing in this, like, the way it just settles down with it.
I do like that the song called Thrills is the most drony song on the album.
Right. So,
It's not that it isn't thrilling, because, I mean, having my ear electrocuted every measure is pretty
I
thrilling.
do like that.
I
bass.
do need to talk about the fact that this song, like, physically hurts me to listen to. Like, it's not a bad song, but that synth, like, actually gives me real physical pain. So it was really hard to get notes on this, because I was in agony listening to it.
I guess I could say that the bass is cool. I do. It does feel industrial a little.
Oh, yeah. Especially at the end,
Yeah.
where everything is just losing its shit. It's, like, loud in your face. There's I couldn't tell if it was a splash or a crash at the end
Let me.
that just starts losing its mind. That's my favorite part of the song. It's just gone completely apeshit. You get the LCD sound system explosion at the
Sounds
end.
like a ride.
Or everything.
I think it's a ride, actually. A ride cymbal. Because
Really?
you can crash ride cymbals. See, that's the thing. Is like you can, if you hit in the middle, you get the bell sound. And you hit in like the middle area, you get kind of like a similar bell sound, but it's more like a natural, like just ride sound. But if you pull it out to the end of the cymbal and you keep hitting it consistently, it's almost like a crash, but it's like consistent in energy. And as long as you're hitting it at a consistent rate, it'll kind of make it instead of like a psh. So that's that.
Okay.
So if you're like rocking out, if you don't want to keep hitting the crash every time, like if you hit a crash consistently, it is more like bursts. But if you hit a ride consistently, it's more like a wave of cymbal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love it can almost be more energizing if you're hitting a ride consistently.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a drum lesson for everyone today. You're welcome.
Thanks,
Whatever.
Julian. Thanks for the drum lesson. Okay, I've got a few more things to say about this song. The big thing is he brings back that nasally style of singing that he had in Movement.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say that on like Disco Infiltrator. He does it there too.
Yeah. He has this weird like nasally style that he'll pull out every once in a while.
Yeah,
And
it sounds like it always sounds like he has a cold when he's singing it.
Yeah.
Like he got a cold and deliberately recorded it when he had a cold.
What's interesting to me and what's a little impressive to me is how much eccentricity he keeps even when he gets into that like nerd sound, when he gets the nasally nerd sound.
Yeah, it's almost the same on Daft Punk is playing at my house, because he almost sounds like a kid, like they're playing at my house.
Yeah, he sounds like he sounds like a nerdy kid. There he sounds like a bratty kid.
Yeah. Like they're coming over to my house.
Playing at my house.
My house.
See, that's the secret to being eccentric. Just sound like an annoying kid.
Right. Hey, you know what kind of train this is? Oh, Christ.
Oh, that was amazing. Okay.
All right. I guess we could move on to... Oh, do you still have something else to say?
No, that's it.
All right. Disco Infiltrator. I love that arpeggiated synth that begins the song so much.
Okay. The like that's going through the entire song.
Yeah.
Remember before the podcast, I told you that I spent 30 minutes straight trying to find out what something was in this album.
Yeah?
I spent 30 minutes straight trying to find out what scale that was. It's 16 notes, and it goes up 2 octaves, and it repeats the middle octave once. So judging by that, the closest thing I got was he was just going up the minor scale, repeating the octave, and then going up it again. But every time I played it, something was off, and I couldn't tell if it was just the fact that I'm playing a piano sound, and it just sounds so different that I'm hearing like overtones or something, or what.
Oh my god, shut up, nerd.
Fuck you, dude.
I'm kidding. No, like...
You wouldn't know what a tritone was if it wasn't for me.
I know I wouldn't, but I would still play Love
You
Me on
need
guitar
me,
either
Julian.
way. Oh.
You need me.
Fortunately, I do. As a music producer and as a friend.
As a music.
As a music, I need you. And as a podcaster. You're the only one that can argue with me and actually make sense.
Hi.
All right. Disco Infiltrator. So the arpeggiated synth is fucking great. This song is funky as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
I this may be my favorite on the album. I don't know. I couldn't pick a favorite because all these songs are so good.
Really? Okay. I thought your favorite was a clear cut.
What'd you think it was?
We'll talk about it later.
So there's only one song left. It's Great Release.
Shut up. They don't know that.
Well, okay. Well, yeah. Okay. I see why you thought that, but yeah, I guess we'll get to that when we get to that. So this song is funky as hell. The bass and the percussion really hold it together and make the song groove.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the whole thing with LCD Soundsystem is they're also like, I always forget that, you know, besides being like indie, it's very dancey, very danceable music. There, it's like I think it was
Oh, yeah.
made with intention of being put up in a disco. You know, not your average disco, but like disco music that's like electronic. And this is before I think like those types of raves with like the standard EDM music would be played. I mean, I guess
I get.
it's a very specific scene, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this fits in that area because I get a lot of Daft Punk influence from this song, especially the shouts that happen.
Yeah,
I want to say Revolution 909 has that.
maybe I don't remember. I haven't heard it.
That's like the specific song that keeps coming into my mind. This was the most Daft Punk influence I heard on the entire album. But you still get, even with Daft Punk, the vocals in Daft Punk are not like eccentric for the
No.
most part.
No.
Only like features are eccentric. And you get John's sound system. You get LCD coffee pots. You get his eccentricity here. But what I realized here, I had this thought process. He's eccentric, but he's not like Freddie Mercury eccentric. He's got like his own style of
It's
it.
almost.
He's got a very unique presence.
It's almost. I wouldn't say subdued, but
No, it's not subdued. It's like
you gotta shake
it's
your waist.
very talky. Do like a talky Michael Jackson, because all the like without the
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he still does those eccentric like ad libs. They're kind of like
he does the that Michael Jackson likes to do a lot in his kind of version. He does the anime punch groan that Michael Jackson loves doing.
I love those. I love Michael Jackson ad libs, but we'll save that for another day because I know you have a very strong opinion on him. So
I do have a very strong opinion on Michael
call it-
Jackson.
yeah.
And when we listen to a Michael Jackson album,
which I will bring up.
It will happen, but when that happens, oh God, I think a lot of people are gonna leave the podcast.
No, they're gonna hate you.
They're gonna hate me, and they're gonna love you more.
You know me. I'm in support of Michael Jackson's voice, but okay, enough.
We'll talk about that later. That's a
yeah.
huge can of worms.
That is okay. We learned our lesson with Beck not to get too too distracted by anything we say.
Take a knee, my ass was an exception, Julian.
Oh God.
Okay, we can't even talk. We cannot say that name because we will lose track.
All right.
Back to Disco Infiltrator.
Fucking cool name too.
Oh yeah,
Disco Infiltrator.
I love the name. It's like I get the image of this weird like spy that's in a disco with a ton of people, and he has this specific song that's just supposed to brainwash them into listening to LCD Soundsystem instead.
That's actually really creative. And the only problem is I can't get the image out. Whenever someone says Spy, now I only think of Spy and TF2, just because I started playing TF2 very recently.
And you just get filled with rage.
Right.
But
I'm a heavy main.
I felt my ears. I physically felt my ears like perk up whenever it gets to the bear in mind part
Yeah.
with all the vocal harmonies on it. I lost my shit there because that sounds so good.
Right.
It's a contrast with the nasally and like talky vocals that he had in the rest of the
Right.
song. He bursts out into this like vocal harmony little ensemble of voices.
And then it works so well in the song too. Like I didn't expect it to. Like I kind of didn't like it at first, and then it grew on me.
I instantly fell in love with it. I think that's just me nutting every time there's a vocal harmony in a song. That's good. And at the end of the song, one thing I really like, he kind of redoes a Never As Tired As When I'm Waking Up, where he adds something to the end. So it had been playing the Bear in Mind, We All Fall Behind sometime.
Yeah.
For some time. It's been happening for a little bit. And after it's been gone from the song for, I don't know, like 10, 15 seconds, when everything is cut out,
They
the
just
last,
go back into it.
yeah, the last half second of the song, you just hear, be hot, and it cuts out.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
That's I think Ween does that on there was a song that they did it on. It was like they had like a dog barking sample, and then the song ends, and you hear the dog barking sample one last time, and then it immediately cuts to the next song. I think it's on the mollusk. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, no, I love that shit. That was I don't know. It's just a detail that's just like, ha, that's cool.
It's like an on purpose error. I like
Yeah,
it.
no, it's fucking LCD Soundsystem, man. I love this band so much.
Fucking LCD Soundsystem. And
Fuck me, LCD Soundsystem.
oh no. Honestly, I thought that was your reaction listening to this next song, Great Release.
Okay, I like Great Release.
When I listened to this, my initial note was Julian's favorite song.
It's not.
It hit me so hard. I thought that this is going to be your favorite song because this is the classic build up to a huge wall of sound that then fades out with really good production at the end. Like, that hits all of Julian's criteria. So I thought that this was going to be your favorite song.
I have a feeling the song's going to grow on me a lot more. I don't not like it. It's just that, like, I felt like I liked other songs more in this case. There wasn't a bad song on this album, and there wasn't a song that I didn't like at least, like, a little on this album. I'm pretty sure I would never skip any of these songs, including this one. The thing with it is just that I think I haven't spent enough time with it.
Okay.
So that's just. But either way, this song, yes, it's great. Of course, it has an ambient flair to it, which I thought that's why you thought I would like it, because I love ambient music. So it kind of reminded me.
That's what I meant a little with the good production.
Yeah, but that good production just means ambience. Haha.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. It reminded me of Brian Eno too, which once again that whole influence. Like, okay, Disco Infiltrator, Thrills, and On Repeats were all songs like one after another that I didn't get like a ring of influence from, like too much of. So when we got the Great Release and I was kind of brought back into this Brian Eno sound, I was like, oh, okay. I say that like it's like a horrible thing, like it ruins the song. No, it was just like going back to my problem with the album. But no, I still love this song. It's literally like a great release. It's a beautiful build up and it has a wonderful outro.
I want to talk about that name.
Yeah.
So, this song, the only chords that I heard in the entirety of this song. So, let me start out with the key. It's in G major. So that's already a very like grand key. You've got like that's very grand. It would fit a great release of energy. But the chord progression that you start the song out with is a 1 to a 5 to a 1 to a 5, and then you throw in a 4 chord, and then it goes back to the 5 to the 1. That's so consonant because all of those chords, 1 chords and 5 chords are very like final and consonant. There's not a lot of like leading into stuff. And then the 4 chord, along with those two, are all major chords. So you've got this purely major chord progression against this entire album that has had so much like music dissonance, minor triads, like interesting is not the right word, but like I guess like varied sounds. And then you get this song that's pure consonants. And then you add in the choir, which adds to that happy consonant feeling. And then there's a piano up top that's slamming out the 1, 4, and 5 chords in the background. You just keep adding more and more like happy sounds to it. You get these like daws and doos in the background. They're dancing around. It's so like happy and heavenly. It makes me think of like celebratory, yeah. It's a celebratory sound. It gives me like this image of like a barn on a hill with all the animals are happy and there's a big smiling sun in the background.
Teletubbies.
Like, it's not scary, no. But I love the name and how well it fits both the placement in this album of this song and the song itself.
Yeah, you basically just said everything for me.
Sorry.
God, yeah, no. I feel like the song has to grow on me a lot more, but the way you described it just made me appreciate it more. So, thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
Great outro. And that's, well, this album's only 9 tracks. That's it. We're done.
That's it, everybody. Have a good night. Go home.
No, don't go home. Well, you might already be home, probably, but
We hope you're home. If you're listening to this when it came out, we hope you're home. You should be quarantined. Don't die.
Final thoughts. You want to start from me, Matt?
Sure. I mean, we kind of said it multiple times. Like, my final thoughts is very consistent with there's one problem I have with this album, and it's that it can be a little all over the place, but only a tiny bit. Like, you get sounds that are a little out of the blue and don't get explored another time, and that makes it start to get the collection of songs, not an album syndrome, a tiny bit. But then you've got songs that do flow into each other with the same sound. So that criticism that I have isn't a huge one at all. This album still definitely has its own sound. It's not entirely derivative. I really think even when tracks sound derivative, he adds his special spin on it to keep it from being unoriginal.
Right, yeah, because while the influences are obvious, it's not, okay, yeah. It's more or less, like, he is homaging them and taking obvious influences on their sleeve, but it's not literally the same song. He's putting his own twist on it. The LCD Soundsystem sound is here. It's just he's working on it. I think they're trying to perfect it, and especially with this debut album, they did well. They didn't do it perfectly, which is expected. It's your debut album, unless you're fucking Weezer, where you do it perfectly like that. Then yeah, fucking kudos to LCD Soundsystem. But I could definitely say that my love for this band was reinvigorated after re-listening to this album. I haven't heard in a while, and
my love for this band was invigorated listening to this album.
Right. So I can't wait to talk more about this, especially later, with my favorite records coming up. So. But for this one,
I'm excited.
8 out of 10. Pretty good record. I love it.
Solid. I'm going to give it a strong 8 to a light 7.
The only thing that's keeping it from going to 9 is the fact that I know what comes up later. And I know that they perfect their stuff on the next record. That's what I really think. So,
I think the score for me, like 7.9. Like it's so close to being an 8 for me.
Yeah.
But it's like just barely not. It's super enjoyable. I will re-listen to this album plenty of times in the future.
Yeah. All right, Matt. I have no idea what you're going to pick for me this week.
You do have no idea, and it's perfect that we had this podcast because I was able to think of it while we were talking. So,
okay.
You recommended this album saying this is an artist that you love pretty much everything that they've put out, right?
For the most part.
For the most part. I'm the same exact way with the artist I'm about to say. This is an artist that I've been listening to for a long time. One of my favorite albums of all time is in their discography. And I think I want to start off with their first one too.
Okay. I think I know who it is. Go ahead.
So, the album we will be reviewing next week is The College Dropout by Kanye West.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go with Rush.
No, dude. Oh, God. Rush is going to be a fucking adventure.
Oh, but that's what I figured. We'd start with the first album, too. But, oh, fuck. The College Dropout. This is exciting. Okay. I am ready for this one.
Okay.
I'm happy for this one.
And I'm like, okay.
And I'm like, oh, God, not that fucking record. We're talking about Kanye here. Fucking Childish Gambino's record Camp is literally like a Kanye ripoff, and it's not even that good.
Yep.
It actually is very bad, but not today. Not today. Not today.
Yeah, me saying College Dropout was actually code word for me recommending Camp by Childish Gambino.
I will probably do that another day, but well.
We've listened to too many bad albums in a row. Our
right.
brains are starting to rot.
Let's just calm down. Let's start with some nice music.
Some nice, influential, groundbreaking hip hop
from one of the most
talented and clinically insane artists.
Yeah,
of our
and I was
time.
trying to find a way to make it sound nice.
No, don't bother.
Whatever. Okay. Can't wait for next week then.
Bye. Have a
Bye,
wonderful
guys.
time.